guess what happened? My computer overheated. Yeah, so my computer crashed, and God damn it, just a big pain in the ass, man. It sucks. Uh, let's talk about that. When computers don't work, what are you supposed to do? I mean, they turn back on, yeah, but another 20, 30 minutes and they crash again. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to take it to some guy, pay him 170 bucks to go, yep, it's broken, or are you supposed to go online, pretend like you know what you're doing, look up an answer to the issue, and fix it yourself and hope you don't break everything? I mean, there's no end to it. You can't win. It's impossible to win. It is. The streams crashed twice, and it's irritating. Nobody's even watching right now, and it still irritates me that it just done. Sorry, did you want to keep watching? No, that's not how it works. That's not what we want. I don't know what to do about it. As I'm just stuck here watching this shit happen. I deleted the other streams because they were dumb. I don't know what the fuck. There's no game I can play because I don't like to play games. So, fuck. What are you supposed to do? I don't know what to do. What the hell? God damn it. Which is not optimal. So now YouTube's telling me that that what I'm doing isn't optimal. So let's go fix that, because that need that needs to be freaking goddamn it. I don't fucking know. We're only gonna be doing 720. 280 by 720. Do 4,000 kilobits a second. This is ridiculous. Video. Can't change that while out here. Fucking shit. Let's try it. Let's do 3,000. That's one pit. God. Next. Gotta fix the other half of the issue because, nothing can work. Is this how it's supposed to work? It is a constant battle between da-da. Was that working now? Does it look nice? Is the quality high enough? Probably. God dang. Alright. Now that that's all fixed. Now that that's all. This is insane. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming as such. Huh? What? Why is this? Why is this an issue? Why? I don't understand. I really don't. I what the fuck? What are you supposed to do? Are we good now? Is everything freaking working? Cause before it wasn't. And I don't know what to say about that. Is it still not working? It appears to be not working, so we're just gonna assume it's not working. Okay. Holy shit. Computers, man. Like, they don't. The issue is they do exactly as you tell them, with zero regard for if you wanted it done this way or if you wanted it done that way. So, god damn, it's still not working. Why? I don't understand. Nothing works. Nothing ever works the way you want it to. You're always going to have that one thing that just doesn't want to cooperate. I've had this issue in everything computer related. Just today, my computer shut down 3 times. 3 times now. And all 3 times, it was probably because I had the fan in the wrong way. What are you supposed to do for that? You can't just go, oh, well, whatever my mistake, because who makes this many mistakes? I mean, if push comes to shove, if I had the ability to just go, okay, let's stop all the crazy, you know, computers will save the world and whatnot, and let's talk about that, alright? Computers won't save the world. They'll be useful because they'll provide some way to um, do things fast, do math fast. Other than that, they're useless to the modern world. They organize stuff, yeah, but they can't take action. And I don't want them to take action. They're not supposed to take action. That gets into the thing of, should drones be allowed to fly themselves? And the answer is no, they shouldn't. Because I don't think a computer should be able to take action. They make mistakes. Because they do exactly as you tell them with no counter agreement. It's just, the orders were fix all problems. Here's a problem, fix it. And it could be that a little kid lost his ball down a drain, and it believes the only way to fix problems is with nukes. They're not smart. You can't have a smart computer. It's impossible. The computers can't think. They compute. It's in the name, computer. If you could get a computer to think, it's even more dangerous. It's more dangerous than a person. Right, with his finger over the big red button. It's more dangerous than that. Because if a computer thinks and it goes, oh, I see. If we just bomb all of China, then there'll be no war. That'll be its viewing of the end goal. When in actuality, the end goal should be, let's not have to bomb China. You get what I mean? It's all about making computers more of a thing that isn't necessary to make a decision. You shouldn't have to use a computer to make a moral argument. You shouldn't have to use a computer to decide what's right and wrong. You should have to use a computer to calculate how far away the sun is, or how fast the earth is turning, or how many girls to boys are there in a nationwide universe classroom. I don't know. So, in that objective, computers are useless. You can't use them. They don't work for that. I mean, I probably wouldn't be doing this rant if my computer would work the way I built it. I built my computer. I built it, um, how long ago now? Like almost 3 years ago. I went, I picked out all the parts, and I put them together. It's just like putting Lego pieces on top of each other. That's basically how you build a computer, except you use a screwdriver instead of your fingers to make sure everything's tight. Uh, you start off pretty simple. I'll walk you through how you build a computer real quick. You start off with your motherboard, if you want, or your CPU, depending on it. You can start on either one of those, but you want to start on those. So you pick, the way I did it, I picked my motherboard, and then I found a CPU that I liked the price of and the power of, and I said, okay, does this match my motherboard? And you read the numbers,
on the plug on the motherboard, and you read the number on the CPU. And if they match, then they'll fit together, and you can buy that one. If they don't, you have to go look for another one. It's just how it is. It's how you gotta do it. You go, you get. Now you get. Okay, so once you find one that matches, alright, you have your CPU and you have your motherboard. Your CPU, your computer processing unit. Alright, next thing you want to buy would probably be your graphics card. Alright, so you want to go look down the graphics card hall, and generally you can slap just about anything in there. I got the cheapest one I could. I got something that would run Minecraft, is what I did. That's exactly what I did. I said, give me something that runs Minecraft. Because I was big into Minecraft at the time. I loved it. It was the best game ever. Now I find it annoying. But I got that. I got my GTX 610. And that's been kicking me in the teeth ever since. I wish I'd got a better CPU. I really do wish I did. I got mine for a good price, but I hate it. And you can't really know these things. You just have to go look at them. Like, you have to log on to a website here.
I'll go there now, in fact, because I like them so much. They help me a lot.
They're called benchmark.net, I believe. Let me look. Benchmark.
No.
Tom?
Bless me. Let's just look up benchmark. Because I've got probably the name way off. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise you. Shouldn't surprise you. Uh, oh my, what? No. Look, that's not what I... God damn it. This is what I don't like about computers, is Google believes they can know everything about you, and that they know what you want. Passmark is the name of the company. But they do high-end CPUs and GPUs, so we will look at their GPU right. Video card. Mine's a GTX 610, so what we'll do is we'll go search. God damn it. Search video card list. And then what we do is we put in
The card that we have.
Is it not on this list?
Is it really not on?
GeForce GTX 610 not found. Oh, that is funny. Let me make sure that's the right one, because that should be my graphics card. And if it's not, I feel quite dumb. Um, do not that, not that, not into that. Extra standoffs, my processor book. I keep all my papers. You should keep all of the papers for everything you have.
It helps. So, when you get your stuff, your booklet will tell you everything you need to know about it. And I mean everything. If you want to know, like, can I overclock it? The booklets they give you tell you. Excuse me. Um, yeah, that's not English. I don't think I can read that. This book doesn't tell me that. What the hell? So yeah, my thing isn't even important enough to show. Wow, that's a lovely thing to feel. Make sure that it is, in fact, this. GeForce GTX 610. Yep, and not here. Shit. Let's do. What is a 680? Because I know the 680s are supposed to be alright. 680. Not bad. Not too bad. Let's go up. Um, let's look at high-end video cards real quick. Holy cow, that is expensive. NVIDIA Titan X. Yeah, no, that's expensive. $400. That's how much I spent on my freaking computer. 1070 is not too bad. Like some of the prices on these, 780 would be nice. 1060. 1060 probably alright. Holy shit. What is this thing? Hold on, let's look at this. What the hell is this? Who the hell? What is this one? Hold on, let's compare the two. Let's compare. 70 some dollars. Oh, oh, that's why. Oh, that is not the best. That's horrible. That is insane though. Okay, so I'm not gonna be getting any of that. A Raiden would be nice. I have to say, Raiden makes interesting processors from what I've seen. Raiden Pro Duo. What the? It's underneath the 1070. And the 960. Prices dropped some. Yeah, that'd be an alright. That'd be an alright thing. Anyway, back to the topic at hand, which was discussing building. So once you get a graphics card, you put that in there. You want to match. You want to get RAM now. 8 gigs is a good starting place. So, what is RAM doing? RAM is kind of it's the memory. So it's like your instant memory stuff. Like if I said banana and 5 seconds later you remember I say banana, that is that's what RAM's job is to do. It's to remember stuff fast and to remember it for only a little bit of time. And 8 gigs of RAM is generally pretty hard to use up, though I use up all of my RAM whenever I'm doing something with the guys, such as Minecraft. I don't have enough RAM to run Minecraft, the server, uh, the the recording software, and talk to them all at the same time. I just don't have enough memory to do that. Minecraft takes up about 3.5 gigs. The server will take up 3.5 gigs. That's 7 gigs right there. And then the other gig is used up on uh the the general thing, or yeah, my operating system and the video. So what you'll see when your RAM gets really full is your computer will slow down. So we can it can process what's in RAM, empty a little bit out, load some more information into it, process that information, empty it out. It has to trade information out from the hard drive onto the RAM. And hard drives aren't fast, which is the next thing that you want. You want a hard drive. Alright? Hard drives are your long-term memory of your computer. They help you store everything. So if you want to install something, you install it on your hard drive. Alright? Once you've installed it on your hard drive, you can run it, do whatever. It loads it onto the RAM. The CPU processes what's on the RAM, loads it back onto the RAM, and you see it through the GPU. Uh, Hard drives can vary in niceness too. So one common misconception that I've always been told was that RPM is not the same as speed, if that makes sense. So let me explain what I'm talking about here. RPM on a disk drive, okay, which is your average hard drive. It has a disk in it, all right, and on the disk it's covered in a metal film, and they magnetize and demagnetize certain parts of the film. That's how you get the stuff onto the disk. And to read that, you have to move to where the stuff is. You have to spin the disk to get where the information is. So the idea was that if you spun the disk faster, you could read it faster. And that is kind of not true. Because if you think about it, if you spun a disk faster and the readings, the little stick that reads, what's on the disk, isn't fast enough to see what's on the disk, then you're gonna be slowing down. And you can see this effect with if you take a tire, like on a car, and when it drives by and you're looking at it through like a camera or something, it looks like the wheel is spinning backwards sometimes, or it's stopped, or it's spinning forward really slow. That is the read rate, all right? You can only read so fast, and once you reach max read and the disk is spinning faster than max read, you come up with read errors, so the disk has to slow down, and then you're not reading as fast anyway. So turn speed is not max turn speed isn't a measure of how fast the hard drive is. I and you can't compare that to solid state because solid state doesn't turn. Solid state's like your USB drive. There's no disk in there. It just is. It's a whole another box of eggs. But solid state will always be faster because it doesn't have to spin a disk to find the information. It just flips a few switches, and nope, there it is. What you'll find usually is that solid state drive will almost always be faster than a disk drive. It's just inherent of the fact that there's a physical thing that has to spin up and move, and the solid state doesn't have any moving parts inside, hence the name solid state. The difference also comes from size. Your disk drive will have a lot larger size compared to your average solid state. It's just, and that's just because it's a physical object and they don't have to program in a bunch of little switches onto your thing, you know. It's strange when it makes sense in the end. Solid states will be smaller on average. Disk drives are usually bigger in both size and storage capacity. Um, Solid states are usually faster, but are also kind of unstable. They will crash randomly. Sometimes I've had issues with mine crashing now that I have so much stuff on it. It causes the drive to overload. It sucks. It's not fun. You'll get something called a disk read error. So carefully consider what you're going to get. Are you going to get like a 1 terabyte hard disk drive or 500 megs of or 500 gigabyte solid state? You know, they're about the same price, but what do you need it for? Are you gaming? Are you going to be um, just using your computer as like a desktop work machine? Or are you going to be doing a little bit of everything? Because if you're doing a little bit of everything, or if you're doing what I do, which is, you know, you play games and you make videos, you want 2 drives. You want one solid state and one disk drive. And the way that works is I put all of my applications that keep my computer running are on my solid state. So that's stuff like Windows, um, uh, antivirus, stuff that's not very important. Certain games I'll stick on there. Anything that's needed for the system to run, though, is on the solid state. And the disk drive I have is, I believe it's um, 4 times bigger than my solid state. So if I have a 250 gig solid state, and I have a 1 terabyte hard disk drive. So what I'll do is I'll back up all the information on my solid state onto the hard disk drive, because the hard disk drive won't mess up very often, and if it does, it's rare. But it's a safe place to store stuff, so I can back up everything onto that, and if the solid state ever gets messy or something, I just reload it all off the hard disk drive, and now there's no issue. Uh, and then with all my videos, and then the bulk of my games, I put on the solid or hard disk drive, because it's large, so I can store a lot of information in that one spot, and I don't have to worry about overfilling and overcrowding my solid state. That was my logic. Also, if my computer ever crashes, I can just, or if I build a new computer and I want a bigger solid state, I can just unplug the second drive and plug it into a new computer with a new solid state, and it'll automatically load all of my stuff onto that. It's quite nice. Um, so what have we covered so far? CPU, motherboard, GPU, RAM, disk drive, your case. So you don't want to. You can pick just about any case. All cases are about the same. There's no difference in cases. Maybe what you want to put in the case, but other than that, there's not much difference. Uh, you'll hear these guys go, oh, you know, I bought this ultra cool X Max case. It's got improved airflow. I'm like, okay, do you use it? Do you need it? If you don't need it, don't buy it. My computer was built to what I didn't need, and I didn't know I didn't need something. That doesn't mean I had to buy it then. I didn't have the money then if I wanted to buy it. That also doesn't mean don't buy the cheapest case. Right? Buy a case that both fits the motherboard and everything else. Oh, power. You gotta power everything. Derp. um, you gotta buy what's called a power supply, which will plug into everything and make everything nice and powered and running, and you can turn it on. Uh, some cases will actually come with a power supply, but you gotta make sure that they provide enough power that they can run your CPU, GPU, and motherboard all at the same time, because those things require a lot of power, upwards of like 800 watts or something, and that's a lot. That's if you ever seen the 100-watt incandescent light bulb, you know they put out a lot of heat. They need a lot of power. Your electric bill will tell you. So what you wouldn't want to do is you definitely don't want to buy a too small of a power supply, because then you can't turn anything on and keep it on. There's just not enough power to do it. You also don't want to match, because if you match everything number for number, it still won't work. And here's why. Cables lose power. So if I've got a 100-watt power supply exactly, and my build, all the components use equal to 100 watts, when I plug them together, the cables themselves will use up a small amount of power, and it'll put it just over the edge, and then nothing will work, and nothing will turn on. Your computer will use what it needs. If you buy a 1,600-watt power supply, and your computer only needs 300, you've over purchased. Unless you're planning on upgrading your computer and installing a bunch of whatnots in there and making it all nice and fancy, you don't need it. It's overkill. If the power supply fades and fails, you're out of pocket quite a bit of money. That's another thing. All these things aren't bulletproof. They fail, which is the whole reason for this rant. My power supply is failing. My GPU is failing. My disk or my solid state is failing. Everything's failing on me, which is why we're having this conversation. Remember? Great. Let's keep going. So, once you've got your power supply, your motherboard, your CPU, your GPU, your RAM, your hard disk drive, or your solid state, or both if you wanted it, then you can start piecing everything together and figure out what size of a case you need. Alright? Because if you buy a case that fits a million, just a whole lot of volume, then you're gonna feel dumb that you can't fit it anywhere. I've got all this room for upgrading, but nowhere to put it. Oops. Or you buy one that is too small to fit all the components in there. You were able to get your motherboard in there comfortably, you put all the stuff on it, but now the power supply doesn't fit. Oops, guess you gotta go buy another case. And they won't take it back. It's been used, remember. Companies will always get money from you when you give something back. GameStop, notorious. I'm pointing at you guys. GameStop will just take your money and run and laugh at you while they're taking it. So they'll take a game that you pay like 60 bucks for and give you maybe 30 for it. Man, they get paid to spit in your face though. Yeah, once you got all that stuff together from your computer building adventure, if you had to argue with the salesman, he's out there telling you, oh, you need the biggest and the best. It's the only way to do anything. They're coming out with games all the time that are, requiring more and more processing. Yeah, just lower the resolution though. Most of the processing comes from either the higher res or the larger world. And if you lower the res to what you're used to, you're not going to notice a resolution loss. It's just not going to happen. Um, that's something else. 4K monitors. Alright, so you buy your everything, it's all together, you turned it on, you love it, it works.
So now you think, I need better resolution, and you buy a 4K monitor. When you use something like that, your eyes and your mind adjust to that. 4K becomes the norm, right? And stuff like modern television would not look good to you because you're used to higher res 4K. I can see something 9 miles away in game. I can see the speck moving in the distance. Whereas the guy with the normal monitor just kind of sees one pixel jump up and down. 4K, in the end, really ruins you because not everything's in 4K. So, I never would recommend a 4K monitor. I think they're too expensive and they make your life more miserable. Because then you have to buy everything 4K, and that's just expensive. Again, I'm gonna say this for the first time. If you've got money to blow, and it's burning a hole in your pocket, and you really want that 4K monitor for some reason, go buy it. Don't let me stop you. It's a 4K monitor. It's still cool. You're not going to be able to watch TV or look at your phone ever again, but you're going to have 4K, which is something not a lot of people have. Anyway, back on track, if you could say track. Uh, buy yourself a monitor that you think is nice. Don't buy something too big to where everything looks lower resolution. Don't buy something too small and everything looks lower resolution. You got to be an inch from the screen to read what Google says. And I'm having an issue now where I'm using a TV as a monitor as well as a small monitor. It's old, the monitor is, and the TV. But I think the TV goes up to 1080. I'm not for sure. Never checked. Never went to ask the TV company. But I don't have a remote for it, and it's stuck in Overcast, which is where the screen is bigger than what it actually is. And so you crop off the sides and the bottoms and top. It's like when you hit the zoom button on your TV, it zooms in. That's what happened to me. And I don't have the remote for the TV to fix the zoom. So I'm stuck with it. I have to change my video settings to fit my TV. Uh, Whereas if you buy a standard monitor and you have the newer graphics card, it'll automatically fit it to the highest resolution that it can, and it'll fit automatically. You don't have to go in and mess with settings. Generally, the only thing you have to remember is what your screen size is. Some games, they mess up on the screen size, or they'll ask you what screen size you want to use. That's another thing. Why does higher resolution? Why the heck is it that when I turn up the resolution on a game, it turns up the resolution on everything? Or if I turn down the resolution, it turns down the resolution on everything. Why can't it just scale down the graphics of the game? You know? Why does it have to lower the resolution for everything? And stuff like, I don't know. These are just things that bug me. Stuff like if I load up a game and it it uses the GPU to process everything, but I know that my CPU is better at doing that. Why keep using the GPU when I when I can set it to the CPU and it should be faster? It doesn't make sense.
I don't know if it's supposed to be common knowledge in some part of the world or something, but it just doesn't work. I mean, if I want my computer to process all the video off the CPU, no matter what, then I want it to do that. If I want it to use the GPU only as RAM, that's what I want it to do. I don't want to have to deal with the inability of the computer to process this because slow computer. Or I don't want to have to go, why doesn't this work? And find out it's because my graphics card isn't good enough. I could be, I'll be playing most games, and my computer is powerful enough to run the game, but my graphics card isn't big enough or fast enough to run it. And it's aggravating, you know. Stuff like Subnautica. I can't play Subnautica because my computer isn't fast enough. I can play Minecraft, which I don't understand why. Minecraft is actually a somewhat higher resolution game than you think it is. You can see the animals, they get pretty far away before the resolution starts dropping. You know, and you can't tell it's a pig anymore. It becomes like a blob or something. They can generally get pretty far. And my computer, it handles that. But if actually, I wonder if it's because I don't have enough RAM. Like not on my computer, on my CPU or my GPU. I wonder if GPU RAM affects how this, because it has to pull the information, process it, and then output it, right? That's how the CPU works. I could build a Minecraft computer real quick and show you, but they take information from the RAM, process it. Well, let's start where the information starts. The information starts on your CPU. That is, or on your hard drive. On your hard drive is the instructions for what to do and what you have to do it on. That's what's on your hard drive. So when you start up a game, it loads the all that into RAM. Everything that it needs to know about that application is now loaded into RAM. What to do and what to do it on. Now, some applications will load the textures, which are the pictures that everything are made of. You know, a texture isn't always on an object, right? In a game, your game character, if you deleted the texture file, would still be there. It'd be a white blob or a gray mass sometimes, but it would still have the same shape as your character. It's when the all the texture does is it gives what colors to put off of that thing, right? Is all the color setup and all that is loaded into the GPU, and Minecraft doesn't have a very large texture file. I think it's a one picture thing. Like it's only one big file for all the blocks in the game, and then the animals have their own file, which isn't a lot of animals. Oh, in the items file, there's one for items, one for you, one for all the blocks in the game, and one for uh, and one individually for the animals. And that's not a whole lot of data. I mean, one picture is maybe 700 kilobytes or something. Not a lot. But for a game like Resident Evil, which I like to play a lot of, there's a lot of different textures. I mean, you have dirt on the floor here and then dirt on the floor there, but you also have to have this dirt compared to that dirt, or, you know, ceiling dirt and wall dirt are different, and floor dirt's different. There's like 30 or 40 different types of dirt, and that's just for pictures. You know, it's a lot more information. That's my reasoning for that. It, once you have once you have all that information and you load it onto your graphics processing unit, uh, it loads everything it can, everything that it thinks it needs. So it'll load the instructions of what to do with these pictures, and it'll load as many of the pictures as it can fit. And what I think is happening, this is all me thinking here, what I believe is probably happening is it's loading it's loading most of the textures, but not all of them. Not everything got loaded. Not all the instructions, or maybe not all the textures. Something didn't get loaded. And what it will do is it'll try and compensate for that. So it'll slow down the video, read the texture data off the hard drive, and then put it up onto there, into the GPU, replacing something else in the process. So what you end up having is a leapfrog of, I need this, get it in here. Now I need this, get that in here. But wait, I needed that for the next thing, bring it back. And that's probably what's dropping the frame rate on most games, is it constantly has to go back, grab another file, reload it into RAM, read it, determine what to do with it, display what it had to do with it to you, then go grab the next one off the hard drive, which is the slowest part. Your hard drive is usually your bottleneck. You know, if you have low RAM, it comes down to the hard drive. You know, if you can't feed the information fast enough, uh, you're gonna slow down. You know, if your graphics card is faster than your CPU, then you end up having the issue of the CPU feeds the graphics card, right? It goes the path the information travels from the hard drive. It goes hard drive, CPU. The CPU determines where it goes from there. So if the CPU determines its data that it needs, it stores it into the RAM. But if the CPU determines its video data that the graphics card needs, it'll send it to the graphics card, and the graphics card decides what it wants to do with it. You know, is it display or is it RAM? So that's how I believe that works. You know, so if your video card is super duper fast and it's just burning through all that data, and your graphics cards or your graphics card, your CPU is struggling to keep up, I mean it's probably hauling 50-gallon buckets trying to toss them on the fire that is the graphics card over there and keeping it fed. Meanwhile, it can't get any work done. It's just constantly feeding information to him. So your computer slows down. It bottlenecks because it has to. It has to slow something down, and the weakest link seems to be the guy feeding the information. So you can always get a bigger graphics card. You have to have a balance in a computer. You know, all your speeds have to be generally pretty balanced. Your graphics card can't be, excuse me, your graphics card can't be super duper too fast compared to your hard drive. And your hard drive can't, well, your hard drive can get any speed. But if you're, no, because then the limiting factor is still the CPU and the GPU. I think this is the order you should check. Is the hard drive fast enough to feed the CPU, and is the CPU fast enough to feed the GPU? And if all those three or all those line up, then you go, how much RAM do I need? Then you decide on your case and whatnot from there. I think that's the direction you should do it. Because then that eliminates the bottleneck because you're starting where the bottleneck ends. You're starting what usually causes the bottleneck. So what do you grab first then? Because your motherboard needs the traces to fix everything. You need the pathways on the motherboard to send the information everywhere. If you ain't got those pathways, it's gonna have to double up on one, and you can't send two streams of data down one cable, and that's just because of how data works. Um, in in a computer cable, it's kind of like a light switch, right? When you flip the light switch up, that data is high, and the light bulb comes on. So there's power running through that switch. When you turn the switch off, that's a low, and the light goes off. So now you have two states. You have on and off, high and low, 1 and 0, right? And you can't send an on and an off through a cable at the same time. You just can't do it. It can't be done. You can either send on or you can send off. You can't send both. Doesn't work. Try all you might. You'll never get it to work. What you can do is send a piece of data, switch to the other piece of data, send that, switch to another, send that. You can flip flop. That'll be the closest you get to sending two units of data through the same way. Turning one light on and one light off with one light switch. Um, so back to your computer that you're building. You've got everything. It all matches up. Your power supply is enough to feed the build. The build is not, everything isn't too fast for the other thing or too slow for the other thing. Everything's happy. It's great. Now what you got to do is put it all together. And the biggest enemy of sensitive technology is what's called static shock. So you felt static shock before when you sat down in one of those hard chairs or something and you stood up and you went to grab the doorknob and it zapped you. That's static. That's static electricity is what that is. Your computer, because of the fact that little microchips and controllers need ones and zeros, ons and off to determine how to do. If you zap it with like 300,000 volts of electricity, it's gonna fry something. Something's gonna break. And the path between on and off is going to be broken, and the computer doesn't work. So don't zap them. It's bad for them. So somebody is either shooting out there or they hit a rock. One of the two. I think it's somebody mowing their grass. Man, you can't make a video any time of the day. Somebody's either going to be out there mowing their grass or somebody's going to be out there shooting guns or whatever. It's never, ever a good time to record a freaking video. It's annoying. The only time I can record is when I get lucky. And that never, ever happens. I'm always stuck with somebody outside doing something on their yard or something like that, or my computer's broken that day and I gotta fix it, or my dad decides he's gonna buy a new house and I gotta go help. I mean, there's no end to it. You can't end the endless loop of back and forth nonsense. I mean, at least I could do is end the computer issue. Then at least I can make a video. Where was we? Talking about what nuts? Don't remember. Something about something. What was it? Oh, right. You turn on your computer and you start loading stuff on. So when you build your own computer, you have to buy your own operating system. All right, you have to buy Windows. You have to buy Windows, Windows, Mac, Linux. Those are your three main operating systems, and you gotta pick one of them. You can have two, but you're gonna run into more problems than you can ever handle. So you gotta pick one.
I personally recommend Windows. Windows will run most all applications. Windows will also have tech support and all that. But if you're an experienced Windows user and you're like, I want to try something else, you got Mac or Linux. Now, I recommend if you're experimenting with new operating systems, try Linux first. Allow me to go show you why you should try Linux first over Mac. The whole goddamn house just shook. Linux first over Mac. Let's go to Ubuntu. Ubuntu. This Ubuntu is a very common operating system that's Linux Debian based. There's a lot of different builds of Debian. We'll go to desktop, download. Yeah, I've got all this whatnot. Let's download it. You see all this stuff? This here are your pay sliders, and you can slide them all the way down to 0 if you wish. Look at this. Same price as nothing. Ubuntu is free. You can download it and use it. So, god damn it, mower. So annoying. And it is. I'm sorry that you have to hear that. You can go and download it for free. That's a freaking amazing. Alright. Linux, or not Linux, what is the name of the other service? I said Mac. Mac's expensive. Mac is super expensive. Why you would build your own custom computers or install Mac on it, I don't know. Maybe you love Mac for some reason. But I wouldn't do it. It's just not a thing. If I build a custom computer, I'm either going to install Linux or Windows. Because those two things, let me tell you the advantages of Linux over Windows first. Linux is lightweight. It doesn't have a lot to do with itself. You know, it's got the base things that it needs to be an operating system. Windows has a lot of extra stuff. It is jam-packed with all these things that are running all the time. It is a burden on your system to run Windows sometimes. Now, on the other hand, Mac, I don't know. I don't know if Mac has, I think it's somewhere in the middle of Linux and Windows. It's better than Windows, but not as good as Linux on the how heavy the operating system is on your system. Um, for ease of use would have to go to Mac. Mac is just easy to understand and use. That's just the nature of Mac. Windows, you can always find help for. For ease of use, I'll rate them Mac, Windows, Linux. Linux is the least user-friendly thing out there. You have to know everything about your system to use Linux. It is a very not user-friendly operating system. There's not a lot of, yeah, here's this, here's that, and a lot of it is you have to figure it out yourself because not many chat rooms have had your issue. You're not gonna find a YouTube video of John Doe telling you how to turn on the video watcher. You know, it's just not a very widespread thing. You know, also Nvidia used to have something against Linux. I don't remember if it's still going. I think you can get Nvidia drivers on Linux now, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Mac has no issue with drivers. Everything works. You know, it's good for that. Now, for application usability, that I will rate in this order. It goes Windows, Mac, Linux. Linux is last because Linux doesn't have a lot of compatibility. Because nobody uses Linux, there's no reason to go out and get it. I mean, I'm not going to go out and buy an operating system when I know I'm not going to find any games to run on it. That's how I would reason that one. Mac is in second place because sure, most of everything is on Mac, but not everything. And then Windows, absolutely everything runs on Windows. And if it doesn't run on Windows, you can get it to run on Windows. I have a hard time finding certain things that won't run on Windows because it's such a popular operating system. It's everywhere. Most computers will come with it if they're not Mac computers. So that's my view on those. That's excluding versions and excluding um, personal preference, really. That it actually it's all personal preference. It's all opinion. You know, arguing Windows 7 against Mac or not Windows 7, Windows 9 was it? That was super horrible. Yeah, arguing Windows 9 against Mac, and you're gonna end up a losing argument because Windows 9 was horrible. They treated everyone's computers like they were touchscreens. Not everyone owns a tablet for a computer, you know. That's how they viewed everything, and it didn't work that way. Not everything was a tablet. Mac treats you like you're a child all the time, so that's why they're down in my list anyway. I'm not a child, I know how to use a computer. Most people know how to use a computer to some degree. Old people love Mac though. Old people should be introduced with Mac. And then Linux, I like because of the options. I don't have to ask big web service guy if I can use this or that. Mac, or not Mac, Linux is mostly open source tech. Everything's for everyone. If you want to use it in your project or you think you have a better idea, go ahead and take over because they'll let you. It's all community built, really. All community driven. And that's about the only reason I know about Linux is because I did a little bit of research on free operating systems because I had to reinstall mine, and I didn't want to go out and buy another subscription on Windows. And I saw there was something on there called Linux, and I was like, "Oh, that looks interesting. Let's go ask it if it wants to be friends." And yeah, I ended up falling in love with the way it worked. And I have it installed on 2 computers now. Ubuntu, that is. I had Mint installed on a really old one. That's another advantage of running a free operating system like Ubuntu here.
They all have lightweight versions. So stuff like your Windows XP computer that you have from the Stone Ages is going to be able to run Ubuntu and maybe play a game as well. Where if you installed a modern operating system like Windows 10 or the new Mac on that computer, it wouldn't be able to run. It wouldn't be able to even start up. It would be so slow. There's just too much information, too much to do. Uh, so for older computers that kind of clapped out, but you still want to use it as a desktop machine, Windows or Ubuntu is a pretty viable option for that. They have something called what is it called? Mint. It used to be the lightweight version of a game, or of Ubuntu. It was nice. It had everything that you needed. It had video watching service. It had a desktop and a browser. Everything you're using right now. The only downside is it didn't have any. It didn't have everything. It had a lot, but it didn't have everything. You didn't have NVIDIA drivers, so your graphics optimization for your graphics card didn't work. You know, your what else didn't really work? Some computers, the wireless wouldn't work just because of how old they were. You know, the drivers weren't out there anymore. They got removed for some reason. Or you're able to use it, sure, but it doesn't work completely because you're missing maybe this program that's always on there. You know, like the System32 file, System32 folder. It has the System32 folder has a lot of stuff that is just compatibility usability. System32 was probably it's probably mostly used just so old programs or programs that use weird libraries and whatnot work on Windows X, you know, whatever Windows you're running. It's, Ubuntu doesn't have anything like that. Linux doesn't have the, yes, this is the standard, this is what you need to run. It's whatever you want to make of the situation. I'm getting tired, are you? It's like, what time is it? 4 in the afternoon. I gotta be doing stuff later, and I don't want to go do it. I want to sit here and talk with you guys. You're pretty fun. Well, you, whoever you are, you're the only person watching. And so, I guess I'll just keep talking about computers, really. Uh, but yeah, when picking out an operating system, keep in mind what you need from it. Is it your first time building a computer? And if it is, you're probably going to want Windows. Or, yeah, I've never built a computer before, but I have a Mac computer and I really like Mac for whatever reason that may be. Then you already know what you're going to buy. Or, you know, however it turns out. You know, I can't predict every situation. You might end up just getting the one that you are most familiar with, which either is going to be Mac or Windows, because you may never have heard of Linux in your life. It's worth a check out if you've got a junky computer that you're not using, or it's too slow to use. Maybe install like Ubuntu on it and kind of check it out, because a lot of older computers seem to really like using Ubuntu because it's lightweight, doesn't use too much, and it's good if you want to experiment with other operating systems. Now, you have your operating system and you've installed it on your system. Yeah, you've put in the disk that you made or whatever, or you bought it off what's his name down the street for $9 out of his jacket. Alright, when you're installing it, you're going to want to hook everything up to the internet. A lot of OS installers use the internet to, what's the word? Update is what I'm looking for. They update off the internet. So while they're installing, they're updating and doing stuff so that way when you actually get into it, it's not just gonna be it doesn't have to restart 10 times to install all the updates. So you got your system, it's installing all this and that. Don't touch it. Let it do its thing. It's gonna take a long time because it has to write a lot of data onto the hard drive. Your hard drive is where your operating system's going to live. So make sure you select the right one. Like if you've got a solid state, if you got two hard drives, I mean, make sure you install it on the one that you wanted it on. Like if you've got two hard drives and you know this one is faster, install it on the one that's faster. Don't install it on the slow one. When you access a hard drive like a second drive, it's slower, always slower, always. So don't trade your fast, speedy hard drive into a slower one. Uh, but yeah, you've managed to let it sit for X amount of time. It's loaded up and it's booted and it's kind of, it's there. You mess around with it. You go, you get your favorite applications, you go install them, and you run them, and oh wow, they run nice, they're great, I love them. Excellent. Then you're like, what else can I run? You go and you install like 30 applications, and they're all different things, and wow, I didn't know I could run so much. Then you're loving it, and it works for like 2 years, and then suddenly it starts getting slower, and then it gets slower and slower. What's happening is you've loaded all this stuff on, and it's it's the mass amount of data that it has to look through to start running something. That's what's slowing it down. What I do to kind of counterbalance that as best I can is I install an application called Crap Cleaner. What Crap Cleaner will do is it wipes up some of the excess that you don't need in your data files and folders. Kind of remove some of the nonsense, which is nice. It's a good thing. Not everything on your computer is useful. So you clean it up a little bit and it runs a little better. But it's still not the same. Another thing that could be happening is things could possibly be going bad. These things don't last forever. They're not, a machine breaks eventually. Your car runs out of oil. Your, what's another example? Your lawnmower craps out. Machines aren't meant to run indefinitely. Computers are no exception. They will break. They always break. So you gotta update. And I think it's every 3 years, I believe is the average. Your computer will become outdated every 3 years. So you use it, use it. 3 years later, it's outdated. You need a new one, or you need to upgrade. My advice is upgrade because then you don't spend as much money buying a whole new case and all that whatnot. You just kind of use what you have and you build upon it, and it'll feel like a new computer. It will. No joke. A simple graphics card switch will turn a not too nice computer into a nice computer. It's those things, or maybe adding more RAM. You edit videos for a job, and you've noticed after a while everything's kind of slowed down, and your RAM's always full.
If you buy more RAM, there you go, problem fixed.
Or you play a lot of games and you've noticed that the new games kind of run your CPU high. Buy a new CPU. You know, not everything is explained by a complete rebuild. The only time a complete rebuild is nice is when we have something that happened to the mod pack a couple times. And the mod pack is a good analogy for this, because I've rebuilt the mod pack a lot. Version 1 we put together, well, me and Austin that is, and it was nice and it worked, and we just kept adding to it because it kept getting better and better and better. We loved it. Oh, we want this mod. Oh, but this mod's good. Oh, let's get this one too. And what you end up having is there's too much to run. It's just too much stuff. So what a complete rebuild would do is you uninstall that junk. You delete this, you delete that, or you do what I do sometimes, which we updated from 1.6.4 up to 1.7.10, which required me to go find all the mods again, get all the permissions back together, download all the mods that we had wanted for 1.7.10, and if they didn't exist, find other, or leave them out, really was the option, because we didn't find other mods until later on. It started off as only 27. 27 mods is all the original mod pack had after I rebuilt it. It was super lightweight, because didn't want anything else in there. But now it's up to, I believe it's 96 mods? 96 or something. It's up in the, it's high. It's a lot of data. And I'm surprised it's gotten so big, but it's from us going, oh, well, maybe we want this mod, oh, but we want that mod too. We just kind of keep putting it in. We don't take anything out. The same thing happens to your computer. You you go, ooh, I want this application. Oh, but I also want that one. Ooh, this game looks good. And you just keep adding on and on and on and on. And you never get rid of the games you don't play. They just keep piling up in the background. Or you don't get rid of that antivirus that you bought 10, at the beginning from John Doe in his lab coat where you got your operating system. It, you gotta clean it up. And the easiest way to do that is to go into Control Panel. On Windows, it's Control Panel. On Mac, I don't know how you're supposed to do it. And on Linux, it's called the Application Store, or the command line, which is called Terminal. And you go there, and when you go to Command Prompt, the easiest way to do it is by right-clicking on the Windows thing. Here, I'll show you real quick. You go down to this thing right here, you right-click, and you go to Control Panel. Programs, Programs and Features. And that'll show you every program that's on your computer. Everything, every update, every little thing that you would need to know about your computer. Or what's installed on your computer is on here. You just go through and you remove what don't you need, what don't you use. Like Steam VR, I don't need that, I don't use that, uninstall. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. Or what else don't I use? Factorial, I don't use. Fingerbones, I'm not looking at playing Fingerbones ever again. Uninstall it. We gotta wait for this one to install. What you end up doing by lightening up your system is you're removing things from loading. You're removing other stuff.
that you don't need. You're getting rid of the clutter that is your computer. It's like cleaning your room. You know, you go, you've got dirt everywhere, and your shoes are laying on top of the cat, and your tools are all over the place. If you go clean up everything and you organize it, it it's easier to find stuff. You can do your job faster. You know, if you need to get clothes, you know right where they are. Or you need to get this tool from your tool bag, you know right where it is because you cleaned up. You know where it all is. It's not everywhere. It's in one spot. Uh, the same thing you can do on your computer. It's called disk defragment, and you can do that by going to File Explorer. And where did that go? Where did that go? I'll bring it up right here. You go to File Explorer. You go to your drive. I'll use F right now because I'm not using it for anything. You can go down to what's no, not doing that. Properties, tools, optimize. And what this will do is it will. The best part about it is that it looks through the whole thing and goes, what's spread out across everything? And if nothing's spread out across the universe, then it won't. What the fuck? Okay, that's weird. I'm not gonna deal with it. If everything's spread out across random places on your hard disk drive, then you have no way of getting every little piece of information you need for that task fast, and that will slow down your computer. Uh, when you delete something, it doesn't actually remove all of it. Like, there's always something left behind, no matter what. If you go and you format your C drive, it'll delete most of everything, except for the formatter tool. It won't delete that. And that's just because it was being used. You can't delete what's being used or what is being open. Well, I'll just say used. Like if I'm watching a video, I can't delete the video. If I'm listening to dubstep, I can't delete the dubstep. It doesn't work. You can't get rid of it. It's only when it's not doing anything and it's just sitting on the hard drive. That's when you can delete it. I'll show you that application I was talking about, Crap Cleaner. It's OBS, Google. Yeah, I've got everything open right now. Let me see. Where is C? C Cleaner is what they have it called. C Cleaner, Crap Cleaner. You hit Analyze. What it will do is it goes through all the usual places where junk gets put, and it removes the junk. Anything that isn't being used and probably won't be used, it gets rid of it because it's not needed. It doesn't need to be there. What's it doing there? It's taking up space and slowing down your system. You know, if you got trash all over your room, it's taking up space and slowing you down from getting to the door. You gotta get rid of the trash. And that's what the C Cleaner does, is it gets rid of the garbage. Your system will usually run just a little bit faster. Like, how much data does it say? 4 gigs? Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff I can have removed from my computer. Skip. Yeah, skip all that shit. Just run it real quick. And you'll see it doesn't really affect anything. It just kind of is there. You know, it does good. Is it gonna? The, probably won't close that. Shouldn't. No, don't close that. Yep, there. That's it. Save me some space. Excellent. I can clean out my registry. You want to do this a bit. What it's going to ask me to do is right now it's asking me to save my um, my registry. So when I delete my registry stuff, it doesn't, kill everything. We're going to disable that one. I don't know what that is, but I don't want it there. I don't know what those are. Always look through your stuff, because you might find something interesting. Um, like, some viruses will actually name themselves Trojan, whatever. And that's because the people that make the virus don't want to get infected by their own virus. They want to know, okay, if I hit this button, it'll delete this file name off my computer, and this is the only name for that file. It saves them from stuff happening to them, which is pretty decent. But the issue is that if you just go kind of looking through your files and you see something that says trojanhorse.exe, you should probably delete it. It's probably not good. Which is another thing. You want to purchase antivirus. Antivirus is what you need. It keeps your computer fast. It keeps your computer safe. It keeps you safe. It does a lot of things, and you need it. It's really good all around. So, uh, you can generally go for most antiviruses, but you'll want to do your research first. Like, well, what is the best thing that I need? What I needed was Bitdefender. Bitdefender works great for me. It's not too expensive. They give you pretty good deals if you sign up again. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I think more people should use stuff like that. While as things like um, Norton, I wouldn't trust with any computer. Their software just seems to be either flawed in some way or something, but they are not doing it. It's some weird fact about them I don't know or want to know. I just know that it's not good. I know Bitdefender has been number one for a while, and that they're always working on a better solution to any problem you have. They have multiple tools. That's how I view Bitdefender, because it's fairly good at its job. It's found all the viruses I can find. If I ever put in a bait one, it finds it quite quickly. In fact, it stops malicious programs from running. It stops me from going to malicious websites. It's really good at what it does, and what it does is keep me safe. I can't ask for a better thing. So, the next thing I'm going to talk about is once you have those two things, uh, you're generally fairly safe. You can do just about anything.
after that? Don't be stupid though. Don't go on to, you know, weedrus.org, free weed for all. You know, it's a virus. It's definitely a virus. You know, a lot of free websites are usually viruses, and you can find that out by looking it up. You know, should I trust this or that? Yeah, if I get a pop-up message saying your computer is infected with a virus on Google Chrome, should I trust it? The answer is no. Never trust those. Always either exit out or restart your computer and never go to those websites again. Ever. They're bad. I've had to fix people's computers before where they had viruses riddled throughout, and they're like, yeah, I don't know where they all came from. Every time I get on Google, it pops up with an error. I'm like, well, then you were doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. You were trying to get free stuff, weren't you? They say, yeah, usually. I'm like, yeah, that's why. Nothing's free. Nothing is free. Ever. A free cookie is not free. They expect something in return. Your gratitude or something. You know, nothing is free. This stuff is not free. Ubuntu isn't free. Ubuntu is difficult. It costs you time and freaking effort. And generally, you have to go log on to whatever forum it is to figure out what the heck you're doing. I, uh, what is it? On the subject of Minecraft and free stuff, when you go to a website that says free Minecraft hosting, those are the ones that usually are the viruses first. You will very rarely find a service that is actually free. Alright, because they gotta pay to keep the website up. Unfortunately, they have to. It's the only way they make money. And to make a free service, such as a website that hosts 3,000 Minecraft servers at once, you gotta pay for both the processing power, the server space, the website name. Uh, it's a lot of money. So usually you hear of stuff like that getting its money from ads. YouTube does that. YouTube is a free service that uses ads on the videos to pay their creators, such as myself and others. We don't have ads because we don't need to be paid. We don't make enough as is, you know. Our content isn't exactly top notch. So we don't ask for profit or anything like that. We don't want it. You guys get to watch a 2-hour video with no ads. It's amazing, isn't it? The issue is if you go and that website, you know, has very little ads, has enough to be there. You go, you sign up for X service, and the service says, yep, just download and install this program, and well, we'll do everything you need to do. The program's probably going to be a virus. Or if it's not a virus, it's a backdoor into your computer. Alright? If you're worried about safety, if safety is your number one priority, the last thing you want to do is have your computer open to the internet in any way, shape, or form. You know, if you're worried about somebody stealing your bank account, don't log your computer onto the internet, ever. Because anything is possible. They could be logging the keys you type, alright? Which they'll know everything you typed, every space bar and backspace you hit. It's all done remotely. Um, yeah, those websites are not very good for anyone except for the people that made them. Their whole reason for being is to get money. You know, people do stuff for money, and that's what everything is. You probably do it the same. You probably realize, at one point in time or another, well, if I just stole it, I'd have money. Yeah, money is a very powerful thing because you can use it to you could buy food for your kids, or you could buy, that favorite new toy, or computer parts. It, it's a powerful force. It'll make people do anything to get it. Am I saying that we need to abolish money? No, I'm saying be careful because people want money. They might not be evil people either. People such as real estate agents are not evil people. They are just trying to get by, just like you and me. I mean, if they want to sell your house quick and make the money now so they can get on to the next house, that's what they want to do. It's, it's how they survive. It's how they put food on the table. The same for that hacker that stole your bank account information. He could have been doing it just because he wants drug money for something, or maybe he wants to just feed his kids, feed his or her kids. You can't tell that everyone just does evil things because they're evil. Not everyone in the world's evil. Not every hacker's evil. There's a thing called white hackers. Their job is to hack into the systems and tell them how they got in. A lot of time it's the people. Um, don't. After all that I've said, don't be afraid of the internet. The internet is not an enemy. All right, just be careful on the internet. Be cautious, not afraid. These are two different things. If you're cautious on the internet and you watch out for bad signs and you go, yeah, I'm not going to barge into this dude's room and start kicking butt and calling names, because there's no point in doing that. It's a pointless endeavor. Um, you wouldn't do it to anyone else. You wouldn't you lock up your entire house, bar your windows, and never go outside because of sunburn, right? It it's it's comparable to sunburn. It can happen if you're not careful and protect yourself against it. If you don't wear sunblock or you don't get antivirus, you'll get burnt. Trust me, you'll get burnt. That's how it works. You stay out there long enough, it will get you. What I'm saying is, it's okay to be wary that you don't want to put in your bank account password and username on a website. It's not okay to say the internet is evil. All it wants to do is steal your information, lock it up, and keep it forever. Because there's no profit in doing that. There's no incentive. Alright, if I put out a virus and its only job was to collect everyone's information so I could sell it to a company, I'm doing it because of profit. I'm not going to put a virus out there that destroys your computer in 9 days and that's all it does. I don't make any money off doing that. I might get a chuckle or two, but I'm not going to make any money. So I'm going to go downhill, and then when they find me, if they find me, it's not going to be good. Ugh. Your biggest enemy when you're on the internet is yourself, because you yourself are the provider. The computer won't make the decision to put your information on the internet. You make the decision to put your information on the internet. If I go, log into YouTube, I'm the one that typed the keys to put my username and password into YouTube. If I'm the one that made the virus, I'm the one that typed in the code to make the virus. Nobody else did it. I did it. The computer didn't do it. I did it. I've never heard of a computer that just decided, oh, yep, time to get a virus today. Oh, time to share your bank information. Yeah, be in control of yourself. On social media, that is your worst enemy when it comes to keeping yourself safe on your bank account and whatnot, or your online accounts in general. Because, what's your security question for YouTube? What your favorite dog or your lost pet? What's his name? You've probably put it on Facebook somewhere. Today I lost this puppy. Please help me mourn for my lost puppy. All somebody has to do is read that, know your name, know your email or something or whatever you use to log in. Go there, hit, yeah, I don't remember my password. Put in the security question, and then they get to control your account. So be careful. I'm serious. The reason they have multiple security questions is that you can use something that you haven't shared with everyone. Something that only you know. They made a movie about it where I believe it was Invisible or Can Catch Me Now or something, or See Me Now, Can You See Me or something. Something like that. It was a magic show. And they're on an airplane, and the guy's a mentalist, They're flying in the air, and he's like, "Hey, I can guess what your puppy's name is." He's like, "No, you can't." "Yeah, I can." "Okay, I guess. But your puppy's name was Fluffy. Actually, it was Charles." Ah, so close. Sure you were. Well, what he goes do is, now that he knows the puppy's name, he goes to his bank account and he logs in and he puts down the puppy's name to get in. And he steals all of his money. Yeah, it's that kind of scheme. That the biggest weakness in security is a human. You can build the biggest bunker you can, but you're the one that opens the door. You know, you're the one that went outside to get a breath of fresh air. So always be cautious of what you're putting out on the internet. Um, what's next about computers? I really do love computers, and I've tried to build one in Minecraft because that's the only place you can get enough pieces to actually build one. And I built what's called a adder circuit. And you put in a couple of numbers and it added them together. It's pretty simple, simple little calculator. Uh, but what you realize when building it is that computers, they have a couple different components. They have the instruction, which is what to do. They have memory and the RAM, which is what's been done. And they have the computer processor, which does what needs to be done and puts it in what's done. And then all that information gets put out to the display through the RAM, usually through the RAM. And what you'll see, usually, is that if you've built one, they're not too difficult. I mean, a computer only works when you push a button, you know? The first one being you turned it on. That's the first button you push on your computer. The second one is maybe you typed in your password or you click the mouse. It only does something after you touch it. Yeah. Even when you turned it on, when you started it up, it seems like it turned itself off automatically, which it did. What happened was when it started up, it started a watch, and when the timer hit, or yeah, a timer, and when the timer hit 0, it turned off, and you started the timer by pushing the button. It's an insane thing to think about that computers can't do things on their own. They, a classic computer can only do what you tell it, and it can only act when you tell it to act, and it's completely dependent on what button you push next. They're predictable. A computer is not random. You have random number generators, but those aren't truly random. True randomness can't be generated from a computer. You can always, if you have a big enough equation, determine what's going to come out. So, saying that a computer is random it's a falsehood because nothing's random. On a computer, they're limited. They've only got so many spaces to do stuff. 64-bit 64-bit computer only have 64 slots of numbers. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. They have 64 zeros, either in the instruction set or in the RAM. I can't remember. I think it's in the instructions. But there's 64 zeros. And those zeros, um, those are the really instructions or something like that. I can't. I'll make a video in the past if you guys want it, explaining how computers work in some detail that you can see in Minecraft. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to work, and I'll be able to go around and follow stuff. It'll look cool if you want it. I'll make it work. Uh, Other than that, I don't have much else to talk about, so I think I'm going to end it here. And if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. You know, it's much appreciated. Uh, if you have anything you want to say to us, if you want to suggest a game, seriously, go suggest it. We'll probably check it out if we can. If you want us to make more videos, tell us you want us to make more videos. We will go make more videos. And as usual, my name is Addis2123, and I thank you for watching. Have a beautiful